Welcome, dearest patrons and poltergeists, to Chateau Macabre, a gay horror podcast where we give our hot takes, gay brain theories, and initial reactions, keeping it cool, creepy, and camp with our original topics that never fail to please.
Yes, welcome back to our show. I'm Robert.
I'm Kyle.
And we're here to share with you some horror news updates, announcements, reviews, recommendations, and some spooky discussions talking about our favorite horror movies and characters. So let's get into the show. Now, as always, we like to think of this show as our weekly Halloween party, and every good Halloween party needs a good spooky, creepy cocktail. So our creepy cocktail of the week is this Black Magic Sangria. It is a mix of red wine, vodka, pomegranate juice, Sprite, and Coca-Cola. And we've garnished it with some diced apples and cherries. So we're going to taste this and give a little review and tell you if you should try this at your next Halloween party. So cheers Kyle.
It's very good.
It's like a sangria, perfect for summer.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is one of my favorites for sure. Like visually, you get the different red ingredients. You get the apple, cherry, cranberry.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Now, how does yours taste? Because yours doesn't have any alcohol in it.
Me as I'm chewing on the apple. No, it's great. I've learned to live sober.
Nice. I'm happy for you.
Proud of me.
Yes.
Give him my chip in our next podcast.
All right. So now that we've had some booze, let's move on to our horror news updates. First update. Duplass Brothers Productions has completed filming on The Creep Tapes, a TV series based on the Netflix films Creep and Creep 2. Per the official description, the series is based on a collection of videotapes in the secret vault of the world's deadliest and most socially uncomfortable serial killer, who hires his victims to film him for the day under false pretenses. Each episode exposes a new victim from one of the fabled Creep tapes. Mark Duplass co-wrote the original films along with Patrick Bryce, who served as director. On the Creep tapes, Duplass and Bryce serve as co-creators, with Bryce directing all episodes. So have you ever watched Creep?
I've seen the Creep tapes.
Okay.
Tubby time.
What did you think of it?
He's so weird.
He is.
I have a friend that has like the weird hots for him though. Like when he had that scene where he's in the tub and he's like, "It's tubby time." She was like, "Ugh, I'm wet."
The sad part is I get it. No.
Wait, really?
I mean, he's kind of not the tubby time thing.
The actor.
The actor. He's kind of handsome in like a dorky, nerdy kind of way.
He's a perfect sociopath, psychopath.
He is
because
he's very
so
awkward,
charming,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
and then
I think it's the same reason why I kind of think the guy who plays Art the Clown is kind of cute. It's that kind of like dorky, like socially awkward thing.
But at least Art the Clown, you know what you're getting. Psycho.
Yeah.
But him, he just looks like a regular guy, and then all of a sudden you see that fucking axe.
Yeah. I'm excited about this news because, like, obviously these movies aren't that old, but like they've already become like kind of cult classics in like the horror community. So I'm very excited that we're getting new updates in this franchise. Now, this series has finished filming, but it's currently being shopped around to different studios to release it. So we'll see where it ends up getting released at. Moving on to our next horror news update. At Summer Games Fest 2024, Blumhouse Games officially unveiled its first 6 projects since launching its interactive division last year. They are Sleep Awake from developer Eyes Out, Fear the Spotlight from Cozy Games Pals, Crizzle Theater of Idols from Vermilla Studios, The Simulation from Plame Studio, Grave Sessions from Perfect Garbage, and Project C from Sam Barlow and Infinity Pool director Brandon Cronenberg. Blumhouse is well known in the film industry as the production company behind popular horror films such as Paranormal Activity, Get Out, and Megan. Despite its robust library of horror films, Blumhouse Games' decision to make an entirely brand new IP is part of the studio's strategy to get its feet wet with original ideas before it begins adapting films into an interactive medium. Aside from making games, Blumhouse previously adapted video games for the big screen, specifically Five Nights at Freddy's and its in-development sequel. It is also collaborating with Atomic Monster and game developer Behavior Interactive to create a film adaptation of the asymmetrical horror game Dead by Daylight.
Love.
Yes, so this is very exciting news, I think, for, if you're a fan of like horror games, and specifically indie games. These are all like smaller like horror games from like indie game developers, and they're all like original concepts. It's not like Megan the video game. It's not like Halloween the video game. They're all like very original games with original stories. So I'm excited that even though Blumhouse isn't making the best movies these days, they're at least getting its toes wet with some new IPs and new video game concepts.
I know, like, I talked about this like with you on the side, but it's really interesting. Some of these games they're so creative. I told you about that Art the Clown inspired game when you play as a ticket like person working in a movie house and there's a murderous clown on the loose. And I think, like, I can't wait to watch this. I don't play a lot of like horror games besides Resident Evil, but I've seen like some of the trailer of this and they look fun. I just hope that they don't make it too, how do I say this? Like, the beauty with indie games is that they have like so much creativity, whereas with maybe Blumhouse, they're like limited and they have to make it like IP and a storyline. And
Absolutely.
yeah. What do you think of this? Because I know you also kind of like watch some streams sometimes.
I do. I mean, I'm not much of a gamer myself, but I do like, I'll watch like streams of like Outlast, specifically like the streams where like the streamer will pretend to be like Nicki Minaj or something, and it's like Nicki Minaj playing Outlast or Resident Evil or something. But I'm more curious. I mean, we only have like some short clips and teasers of these games to go off of, but more than anything, I'm just excited for a little bit of like originality, and like I'm very happy that they're kind of propping up these smaller game developers. I'm happy that this big company is actually doing something to prop up like smaller companies.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, so moving on. This will be fun. I know you see the name ready, but JoJo Siwa is taking a break from her usual antics to star in the forthcoming horror thriller movie #AMFAD. All My Friends Are Dead from Saw 3D writer Marcus Dunstan. The movie, which is set to have its world premiere at the Tribeca Film Festival, follows a group of college friends who set out on a road trip after scoring tickets to the party of the year, Karma Palooza.
Are you shitting me?
Yeah. When I saw this news update, I was like, I have to talk about it, and I'm gonna look at Robert's reaction to this.
No.
But a vehicular mishap forces them to spend the night in an isolated Airbnb, which seems cool enough after all. Where better to party hard than in someone else's house? Wow. Okay. Not so fast. Being stuck indoors together causes their internal rifts and shared past to surface. You put a bunch of lesbians together in a house and you find out JoJo Siwa has ran through the group.
Oh my God.
But yeah, that's what the official logline says. And even worse, an uninvited guest joins the party, Frankie Grande, and decides they need to pay for their transgressions.
Wait, is Frankie Grande?
No, I'm kidding. I was like, Frankie Grande.
I don't know. You said JoJo Siwa was in this movie. I don't know what to believe
Anything
now.
is possible.
Anything. There's room for everyone. Let's just say that.
I would like to see that. I would like to see that. You know what? Bring him on.
Oh my God.
But yes, he expects them to pay for their transgressions by murdering them in an extremely gory, way tied to their specific sins. So I don't know if JoJo's gonna, okay. From the screen cap that I saw, she looked like the victim, but we don't know. What if she's the killer?
I mean, with that voice, I think she could kill some people.
I mean, the scoring tickets to the party of the year, Karma Palooza.
Oh God.
She's giving us signs.
I can't even take this seriously.
She's inventing this new genre of horror.
Uh-huh.
Gay horror.
The doors she's open, like honestly, like nothing has existed before her and nothing will exist after her. She is the blueprint to everything, to gay pop, to horror,
To gay pride.
Yes. Happy Pride. Thank you so much, Jojo Siwa.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't teach this in school, but she threw the first
brick at Stonewall.
Stonewall.
Wow.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that part was inaccurate.
All right. Well, now that I have that very vital information, I don't know what I would have done without that.
Educate the kids.
Yes. Let's move on to today's horror discussion, where we are going to be talking about some horror porn parodies. Yeah, this is going to be one of those episodes. So I think that for as long as like film has existed and for as long as like porn has existed, people have been making parodies of popular, movies and franchises and TV shows. And that includes horror. There's so many different like porn parodies out there of like pretty much any horror movie you can think of. There's Saw, there's Scream, there's Halloween, Friday the 13th, like everything you could think of. And I think that's not super surprising, specifically if you're talking about like gay porn. Like, I think we all know gay people want to fuck mass killers for some reason.
Yes.
Do you agree?
Mm-hmm.
But like, as we all know, porn isn't exactly known for like the best writing or like the highest budget or even the best acting. Kind of makes me wonder like who's even asking for this, because like no one's watching porn for the plot. So like you kind of wonder like why bother, right?
I'm going to share with you a very quick story. I went on a date with this guy from Hinge, and he was new to LA. He was like, I want to be a writer. I said, what do you do? He's like, I'm a writer of sorts. I said, what do you mean? And he says, do you know Helix Studios? I write for them. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, I write the storyline before the porn.
I kind of just thought they got a monkey in front of a typewriter and they wrote the stories.
I mean, I never saw him after that date, but it was the first time I've heard and met somebody who actually had that job, who was a writer for like the porn story.
I mean, that's got to be a good job. You got to be making at least like $5 an hour for those scripts.
Yeah, it was a cheap date.
So yeah, porn, not really the best in terms of like movie quality. But I think since we're both horror fans, and since we're both young men who have grown up with the internet, we're both fairly, I guess, familiar with porn in general.
I love how educationally you said that.
I mean, am I wrong?
No.
Okay, then.
Girl, our parents kind of knew because they checked the internet history. No, you didn't have to come out. I know. And I know what you're into.
Yes. So as horror fans, we decided to watch some horror porn parodies for you and give some reviews and let you know if you should watch these movies yourself. So yeah, if this topic hasn't disgusted you already and you haven't turned off the video, thank you for staying, and let's get into the discussion. Now, the first review I'm going to be talking about is a film called The Sex Files.
Ooh.
It is a parody of The X-Files, if you didn't get that. I picked this one just because like I was doing research for this video and I saw that one come up, and I thought it's so stupid, but I thought the name was hilarious. Like The X-Files, so you call it The Sex Files.
Oh my God.
It's so stupid, but I just thought it was hilarious, and I laughed like for way too long at that. But yes, in case you've never seen The X-Files, it is a show about these two FBI agents, Agent Mulder and Agent Scully, and they basically investigate these unexplained, possibly paranormal occurrences and crimes happening across America. So this parody kind of follows like the basic like formula of the average episode of The X-Files. So like Mulder and Scully get like called out to LA to investigate this string of murders that is possibly being committed by this sex cult who worships the demon Lilith. Fierce. Now, first off, before I talk about anything else in this movie, I have to address the elephant in the room when I watch this movie. So, like, have you ever watched The X-Files?
No.
So, like, Agent Dana Scully, who's, like, the one half of, like, the team in this show, she is kind of known for having this like iconic like red hair, this like red bob, this very like 90s like kind of Rachel from Friends-esque haircut.
Oh, okay.
But this movie was made in 2009, so they didn't have anyone who had that haircut. And instead of hiring an actress who had like a close enough hairstyle, they just made this actress wear this terrible red wig. And it's so distracting. It's so stiff. Every scene that she's in, I can't even take her seriously because it's just this awful like Party City like synthetic red wig. It's so bad. I can't even take it seriously.
I know.
Yeah.
It really pops at you.
But not only is this wig stiff and lifeless, this actress is also pretty stiff and lifeless.
Oh, she just starfishes on the bed?
Well, I skipped through the sex scene, so I can't tell you that. I'm talking more in terms of her line delivery. She's very, very... It's just bad. Like, every scene she's in, it's like she's just, like, reading off the teleprompter. I have to share this clip from the movie and show you what I'm talking about.
Wow.
Why is she smiling? There's two bodies in front of her.
Because she knows she's going to get it later.
Except this time, the killer took a souvenir.
Both of them? Well, I guess they're not going to have much use for them anymore anyway, huh?
Mulder, out with it. What's going on?
Scully, I think we're dealing with something more than we originally thought. I think it's more than just a cult murder or sacrifice to Lilith. I think the murderer is Lilith herself.
A demon.
That's right.
The concubine of Satan.
That's the one. Look at the nature of all the killings. All performed after a sexual escapade. The Baphomet carved in every victim's torso. A representation of Lilith.
Okay. So, it's obviously a demon. You do realize how hard it's going to be to prosecute Satan's whore.
Well, Scully, what do you suggest we do?
I'm going to perform an autopsy on these bodies. Why don't you go back to Mr. Barson's and see what he was up to last night?
Okay, will do. Call me if you find anything weird with the bodies.
What qualifies as weird?
Something spooky.
Right.
So you see what I mean? She's just like very lifeless the entire time. And like, she's very clearly not even taking the situation she's in seriously. Like, she's in like an active crime scene looking at two dead bodies and she's just like smiling like, oh, Mulder, what's going on? Like have some sense of urgency, please. She's just very nonchalant about everything. And like, not to put this movie on blast, but like, there's nothing in this movie that like necessarily I find like erotic or like nothing about this movie entirely turned me on. Now I recognize that this is a straight porn movie, so like maybe I wasn't exactly the demographic to be watching this movie, but like I genuinely didn't find anything about this like erotic. It feels more like a straightforward like X-Files fan film that also is just like intercut with sex scenes. And like, to its credit, I feel like this movie was genuinely written by someone who was probably like a big fan of the X-Files. Like, it does genuinely feel like X-Files fan fiction. Like, they have like all the characters, like even like the boss character, like at the beginning of every episode, like they talk to like their boss who's like a grump and he's like, oh, you guys need to go investigate this supernatural crime. Like, he's in here. And like, there's even like this subplot where like the two leads have like this will they, won't they, which is like in the show. So like, I don't know. I kind of respect that whoever made this was like probably a big fan of the show and wanted to make this fan film of it.
I'm curious. Did they?
Did they what?
Fuck?
Did they? Oh yes, they did.
Okay.
So that's how this movie ends. But it's very tender, and that's where the part that really made it feel like a fan film, because like it ends with like Agent Mulder like confessing his love to Agent Scully, like saying like, I'm in love with you, like you know, I walk into work every day and you make this job worth it all. Like, it's not erotic or sexy at all. But it's like a genuine like proclamation of love. And then they have this very like tender sex scene. It's very honestly like impressive. Like, it's impressive filmmaking in my opinion.
I've noticed that pattern in some of the films that I'm going to talk about.
Oh,
the
no.
romantic aspect.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
so I'm curious to hear about yours then. But yes. That's all I have to say about the Sex Files.
Very interesting. I was staring at that wig the entire time. And I will talk about that wig shortly.
Oh no.
In some of these.
Oh no.
She probably borrowed it and gave it to her friend.
The pass around party wig.
Exactly.
The pass around party city wig.
She was like, it's red. It's a little bit hard because, you know.
The cum.
Yeah. Well, my first one is Edward Penis Hands, a parody of Edward Scissorhands.
I don't like where this is going.
Now, I want to ask you, have you heard anything about this one?
I feel like I probably have at some point. I feel like I already know where this is going. Like I can already picture what it's going to be about.
Yes.
And I don't like it.
All right. I mean, I will say the creator of Edward Scissorhands did watch this movie.
Tim Burton watched this movie.
I think he did. Yeah. He knows about this film and he says he has seen it. That's all he commented.
That poor man.
I enjoy this film.
Oh, what?
Yes. I will give a brief summary first.
Okay.
So Patricia, local AIDS representative. I know. I was like, what? They're so progressive. But then she explained it was marital AIDS that she was selling.
Oh no.
So the audio was so garbled at first that you know, when I was watching this, I thought, oh, she's for the cause, you know. How great. But then it was made clear later what kind of work she was doing because her young daughter pulls out her briefcase and it's just like full of dildos and she
had her daughter pull out some dildos?
No, I think she sat down, like in a later scene, she set down her work briefcase and her daughter's like, I want to see what my mom is doing. And then she pops
Lord.
it out and then it's full of like 30-inch dildos.
30-inch?
Like there's different kinds.
You could kill someone with that.
The film is called Edward Penis Hands. But yes. Anyway, so Patricia goes into this castle / dungeon warehouse looking scene, and it's actually Edward's residence, and she meets Edward, and things get freaky. Yeah. And we will put up a picture of what he looks like with his hands, but we're gonna censor it with like Chateau Macabre branding.
Now, please describe to me what this is because I haven't watched this movie. Is it as bad as what I'm thinking it is?
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like on the hands, and there's 2 of them.
Dildos?
So they look almost like tentacles.
What?
Yes. Okay, let me pull up a picture for you. Basically, it's like, I thought it would be like 5 because, you know, of the 5.
What am I? Is it worse than what I'm thinking of?
But it's like 2 huge dildos.
2?
Yeah.
Okay, I need to see.
You need to see.
What is that?
Oh my God.
Oh my,
it's a lot.
That's disgusting.
It looks real.
Real? What do you mean that looks real? It looks like he's an alien.
I mean, but the things look real. Like they're asymmetrical. And, you know.
You're looking at those details?
Of course. I'm reviewing this. But yes, there's just, instead of 5, it's like 2 huge
That is disgusting.
drills over there. And yeah, I mean, that's what she was screaming the entire time when she was getting Edwarded. Anyway. Yeah, so once that's done, I mean, I think the actress was so funny, Patricia. She has these funny lines afterwards where she goes like, well, I'll just have to take you home with me. The neighbors will love you. And then following that, the daughter has a whole lesbian scene. And then following that, it's like he meets the neighbors and there's an interracial threesome scene where he does like 2 girls at a time. Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, and then he finds out he's actually in love with Patricia's daughter, who had that lesbo scene, but I guess she's also into men. And yeah, it ends with Patricia following him back to his castle, and they fall in love and have another sex scene. The guys were hot and hung. And yeah, no, he's actually very good looking underneath all of that, and he actually uses his actual thing.
You can say penis. We're grown men.
Like, I'm talking about like double fisting and all that. I'm like, he uses his diggling. But yeah, he's hung. And I also love the actress, the porn actress. Her name is Alexandra Quinn. She was serving camp when she walked inside that castle.
Was she actually a good actress?
She was like a porn, very porn actress, but it was so campy. It was so funny. It reminded me of like the drag queens entering the workroom. When she came inside, she was walking with her pinned up hair and her glasses and her briefcase. And she's like, "It's not Avon calling. Hello. Is anyone home?"
That's going to be my entrance line if I ever go on Drag Race.
Yeah, and then she takes off like the pin in her hair and the glasses, and she's such a bombshell.
Wow.
She's like blonde and big boobed. So she's great. Just when you thought that penis for hands was crazy, the things actually squirt. Yeah.
Squirt what?
They like come.
But what is it?
I don't know. It's like some type of fluid, but like it actually like shoots out stuff.
Kyle, this is really grossing me out.
Like a spider, like Spider-Man.
I'm like actually getting nauseous talking about this. You know what? Fuck it. I'm sex negative. What the fuck is wrong with some of you people watching this shit?
This is a straight porn, not gay porn.
I know. You want to call us the sickos? Jesus. Well, let me not speak too quickly. I haven't talked about some of these other movies.
But yes, no, I think this is like our risque topic, but it's pushing the boundaries. But there's a scene where so Patricia's like says to Edward, "Oh, I'm going to take you home with me and the neighbors will love you." So she takes him home and she meets the daughter and she meets the husband. And the daughter's like, "Hi, nice to meet you." And he brings out his hand, which is like a big dildo. And she doesn't know whether to like touch it or not. I need to show you the scene. It's so funny.
Guest, this is Edward. Edward, this is my husband, Carl.
Hey, Ed.
Aren't you going to say hello, dear? Oh, Daddy.
Oh, that's okay. We can mop it up.
Electric chair.
Who was this made for? Who made this? Why?
I don't know, but I mean, I said we love unhinged things, and this is even testing our boundaries.
Clearly, yes,
Yeah.
because I am disgusted.
You're like, I'm a Christian now.
I'm hoping you're done talking about that.
Yeah,
I'm
done.
I don't want to think about that anymore. I'm going to talk about my next movie, which is unfortunately called The Walking Dad. In case you couldn't tell by the title, it is a parody of The Walking Dead. Now, right off the bat, I hate the title. I think for obvious reasons, it's a pretty gross title. I don't even really know why they called it The Walking Dad, because there's only two characters in this movie and they aren't related in any way. So like, I don't know why they called it that. Even if they had called it like The Walking Daddy, that would have made like a little more sense, and it would have been a little less gross. But no, they just had to take it one step further to make it grosser.
I'm curious now what the plot is.
So, well, okay, if you've never seen like The Walking Dead, it's basically about like this group of survivors who have to survive the world after a worldwide like zombie apocalypse. But this movie primarily focuses on Carl, the leader guy's son, and Negan, one of their like enemies. And it starts off with Carl going to see Negan, and he reveals to him that he's been bitten by a walker, what they call zombies. And, he will soon succumb to the zombie virus and turn into a zombie himself.
Succumb,
Yes. And Negan reveals to Carl that he has a way to save Carl. And I have to show you this clip from the movie to show you what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Carl, some people have immunity to the wildfire virus.
You?
Yes, and I can share with you, but we have to hurry.
What do you mean?
You need my DNA.
So like a blood transfusion?
You need my cum. You need my cum deep inside you.
But I've
Carl,
never...
I know you've wanted to. Don't worry, I won't tell you that.
Yes. So that's basically all this movie is. It's about Negan needing to fuck Carl and come in him, and that's how he's going to save him from the zombie virus. And
Amazing.
yeah, let me start off by saying I found out about this movie because like someone posted this clip that I just showed to Instagram, and like it's honestly kind of become like kind of a big meme in like the Walking Dead like fan communities. Like they'll say to each other like, you mean like a blood transfusion? Like they've all seen this clip. So like it's become a big meme. So I was really excited to watch this movie. I was hoping the whole movie was going to be like awkward and funny like that. But to my surprise, like this movie is actually pretty lame, to be honest. It's probably the lowest budget movie like on this list. It's basically like the other movies on this list are like actual movies with like different scenes and multiple actors. This movie, despite being like more than like 30 minutes long, is pretty much just like two very extremely long sex scenes with just the same two characters. So I found myself like honestly getting a little bored with it. Now I have to talk about the casting. If we're judging it based on looks alone, the casting director deserves a raise because these two actors look so much like the actual actors in the show. Like
I was gonna say,
like the older guy, he looks just like Jeffrey Dean Morgan. The younger guy looks just like Chandler Riggs. Like snaps to the casting director. But on the other hand, these two actors have like zero chemistry with each other. Like they very clearly do not want to be here. I will say though, the guy who plays Negan is extremely hot. He's very, very hot. He's got like that thick beard. He's all muscular. He was the eye candy for me. This other twink, however, like I was not into at all. He was so like stiff and lifeless again. Like to me, he comes off as like one of those like twinks who feels like he probably doesn't need to be good at sex because he's young and skinny. It's giving very much that vibe. And yeah, everything about this movie felt extremely cheap and extremely low budget. There's like one microphone in this room and like that's all they're using. It's so hard to even understand like what the characters were like saying half the time. And I'm pretty sure at one point I could hear the director talking off screen and they kept that in the movie.
That's funny.
I don't know. Like was no one going to edit that out? Did no one like watch this back a second time and was like, yep, this is okay to post?
You know what's funny? I think they kind of know that what their gay audience is there for, and then they're just like, they know what they deserve.
Yeah.
In The Walking Dead, Negan has a bat. In this one, is it just his other bat? Or?
The bat only comes up once in this movie. So like most of the time, Negan is in like their jail, and then like at the very end of the movie. So like there's only two scenes in this movie. That's pretty much all it is. There's like the first scene where like Negan fucks Carl to like give him the cure to the zombie virus.
Q and Lady Gaga's The Cure.
And then like that happens, and then it cuts to like another scene of Carl coming back, and Carl's talking to Negan, and he's like, Negan, this whole experience has got me thinking about life, and life is so short, and there's so many things I've never experienced, like the pleasure of fucking a good ass. And so that leads into a scene of Carl then fucking Negan.
Oh, love.
Yeah. And those are the only two scenes. And then at the very end of the movie, Carl's like, you know what, Negan? You're a changed man. You're not the same man we met all those years ago. And then it ends with Carl letting Negan out of jail and giving him his bat to, I guess, just roam free and kill more people. I don't know. This plot makes no sense, but I can honestly say this movie did not entertain me in the slightest. There were so many times where I just wanted to turn it off, but I kept watching it for you, for our audience, to give you an honest review. But yeah, I do not recommend this. It's not even, I can't even really, it's not even like, it didn't make me horny at all. There were so many times where just like, I don't want to watch this anymore, which is really bad if it's a porno. I feel like you could have compressed this into like a 5-minute video and it would have been far more entertaining. But yes, that's what I thought of this. I don't recommend it. Please don't watch it. It's not worth it. Watch the clip I just showed, and that's all you need to see.
That's all you need to know. In the cultural zeitgeist.
Yes.
All right. Well, you'd be disappointed because this next movie is also talking about twinks. It is Twinklight. Yay!
They couldn't come up with a more creative name than that.
Nope. And you're gonna die when I tell you about the names of the characters.
Oh, no.
So Twinklight obviously is inspired by everybody's favorite Kristen Stewart Oscar-nominated performance from her movie Twilight. It begins with Billa, the boy version of Bella, played by Skylar Blue.
Sure.
Yes, I know. So creative, so different. Who runs away from his home to Las Vegas, where he moves in with his fellow Twinkie friend Bailey, played by JT Wreck.
Okay, so right off the bat, this isn't a one-for-one remake of Twilight.
No.
Okay.
Total, it's like different.
Okay.
But I mean, it has vampires and twinks.
Yeah, I guess that's all you need.
That's all you need. They know what they're getting. When Billa changes his mind and goes out on his first night, he finds himself thrust into a world of vampires. But Billa catches the eye of one brooding vampire who comes to his protection, Edmund.
Okay, you could have just said Edward.
I know.
They don't own the name Edward.
This movie was filmed, I think it was also 2009. No. When did Twilight come out?
2007?
Okay, so it was like after Twilight.
Oh.
So obviously this is post Twilight.
Yeah.
And then, but what was funny was that they referenced Twilight, but they tried to do it in like a really cheesy way, where they said, "Why are you following me? This isn't some teen rom-com where like the mysterious, dark, handsome figure broods after the young, helpless victim. This isn't like that kind of movie," or something like that.
Okay, not enough young filmmakers know this, and it needs to be said, apparently. Being self-aware does not make your movie good.
No.
Knowing that your movie is not good does not make it automatically better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Note to all you future porn creatives. But yes, the sexy Edmund, played by Chris Perez, doesn't want Billa to be put in danger, not just from the other vampires, but from himself. As hard as Edmund tries to push Billa away, they become closer until he reveals his vampiric nature to Billa in one intense act of lovemaking. Woven between their scenes, we witness other vampires having sex and feeding on a long lineup of cute twinks. So I will say, this movie was confusing. The plot was very...
It sounds very confusing.
No, you know what was worse? I had to go back to the cast list and read the synopsis and see like who is who, because when they were all fucking each other, they all had that like Troy Bolton High School Musical hairstyle, you know, the bangs. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my God, is this him? Is this his friend? Like, what is this? Oh my God, there's 3 of them and there's threesome scene. Like, who is what?
This is why we need diversity in porn.
Yeah.
We can't keep hiring these white twinks. They all look alike.
They all look the same. And yeah, I mean, it was funny. Porn was actually not bad. Handsome characters and big dicks.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Stop being a faggot.
Thank you. So there's this, like one of the common tropes of vampires is that they're invisible in mirrors, right? There was this twink getting railed by a vampire, and then the scene cuts to like a mirror shot, and it's just the twink like thrusting his hips into like the bed with nobody there. It's kind of funny. It was like he was getting railed in one shot, and then in the mirror shot, it was just like invisible.
You know, it would have been an even funnier scene.
What?
Is if like it was a scene of like a twink getting topped by like a vampire, and it's showing like the mirror, but it's like it'll show like his asshole like opening in and out, but there's nothing.
Future porn director, everybody. Robert, okay, I couldn't keep the secret. I love your work. I'm so excited till Twinklight 2 comes out.
Oh my god, yes. Please hire me, Helix Studios. I can make better movies for you.
That's actually so funny. There's this scene where Billa gets harassed at the club by another vampire and Edmund comes to his rescue. So this clip is like, you know, we can show this. So let me...
You don't know what you're missing. Look, I'm not into that. Call me old-fashioned. Virgin, actually. Look, we won't bite. Hard. Did I say virgin? I meant eunuch. Tragic, actually.
He's got the Kristen Stewart impression down. Oh! What would have been more accurate is saying you're too fat anyway.
You should go.
I love... You know what's funny? Like, all of the vampire scenes, they do this, like, weird hissing thing. In, like, all of the scenes. Like, I've seen so many twinks go...
It just reminds me of those weird kids in high school who were going around, like, barking and hissing at people.
That's so funny.
Is that fucked up to say? Sorry.
No.
Wow. You know what? Just watch Twilight if you want a better experience, because this does not look like it's made for anyone in the year of our Lord 2024. Moving on to our next parody, I am talking about Scooby-Doo, a XXX parody.
Scooby-Doo.
Yes. I think we all know who Scooby-Doo and the gang are. They're these 4 meddling kids and their pet dog who go around solving spooky, scary mysteries. They need no introduction at this point. They're cultural icons: Fred, Daphne, Shaggy. Am I missing one? Fred, Daphne, Shaggy, Velma. Yes.
I was like, the most important LGBTQ icon.
Yes. So this movie revolves around the gang, trying to find Scooby-Doo, who has apparently gone missing. Scooby-Doo does not actually appear in this movie as a character in like any form. Like he's always like, he's missing, so he's not in the movie. So let me get into like this cast. So like, let me just say, all of these actors in this movie fully commit to these roles. Like, I'm talking, like, they do the voices. Like, Shaggy is like Zoinks, like or like even Velma, she's doing like the nerdy voice. Like, they're all pretty like accurate in terms of like how they look and how they talk.
These were the failed improv students from like the Gremlins, like Upright Citizens Brigade.
Yes. I will say, in terms of their characterization, it's a little bit different from the cartoon. Shaggy, like in the cartoon, he's more of like a dorky, like scaredy cat, but in this one, he's more of like a ladies' man. Like he's just like going around like fucking all these different women and even the girls like in the gang. Velma, she's like the bitch of the group. Like she's always talking about, like, she's openly talking about how much she hates everyone else in the group and how disgusting she finds them all. Like, it's pretty funny how much she hates them all. Daphne is different in this movie. So like, she's kind of just like a really dumb, really stupid bimbo in this movie, which tracks because in this one, this actress is not a redhead. She's blonde. So makes sense that she would be a bimbo. And Fred is just Fred. He's pretty... In terms of the storyline, he's pretty irrelevant in this movie. But I did think he was really hot. So that made up for it.
You answered the important questions.
So the reason I'm even talking about this movie and the reason I even wanted to watch it is because I actually found out about it like years ago, because like I think I might have been in middle school, because like this whole thing is uploaded on YouTube. It's on YouTube, like, the supercut you were talking about, like the non-porn scenes, just the cut scenes. And like I think it's become famous as like a porno because of that, and for good reason, because this movie is honestly like really fucking funny. Like the writing, like the writing's really funny. The actors all have honestly pretty like good comedic timing. Like snaps to them. They're honestly like, they're committed. They know they're in a fucking Scooby-Doo porno and they're just like having a good time and being funny.
Is Velma like getting real and being like, Jinkies?
She does say jinkies a couple times. I'm assuming she does. I didn't actually watch I skipped through the sex scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, it's really, really funny. There is, however, this kind of weird subplot throughout the movie where like Daphne is like obsessed with getting pregnant. And that's why she keeps like wanting to have sex with Fred all the time, because she wants to have a baby, but she's such a like dumb bimbo that she doesn't know how to get pregnant. So let me pull up this clip really quick.
Why don't we just go to the mansion and ask around? Surely someone has seen a Great Dane.
Okay, we can do that.
Yeah, maybe the slut will still be there.
You seem a little angry, Velma. Is it that time?
She's pregnant.
Oh! What did I do to deserve you people?
Speaking of pregnant, it's high noon and ovulating though.
Can we cut with the pregnant crap? I am not pregnant. Javi, what?
What she means is, it's time for us to have sex.
We're gonna make babies, huh, Freddles?
Freddles? Yes, dear. We just need to keep trying new ways.
Does this mean we're not gonna have sex in my ass anymore? Because I don't think that's working.
Well, I bet if I come in your mouth and you swallow, it'll go right down into your tummy.
Where the baby is.
Shag, what's the best place to give my girl what she needs? Like, have you tried them all?
The free clinic?
I'm gonna take her downtown to meet Freddie Brown. I have no idea what that means because all my blood's in my penis right now.
I'm peeking.
No! No! They're not gonna do this right here! I can just feel the mental scarring.
Did that just happen?
I believe
So
it.
yes, as you can see, these actors are not taking this seriously at all. They know they're in a Scooby-Doo porno. They're just like, it's a comedy. They know they're in a straight-up comedy and also having sex from time to time.
The casting's pretty good.
The acting is honestly not bad.
Yeah.
This Velma, they all really commit to their characters, especially this Velma character. She's such a bitch throughout the entire movie.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it's honestly not that far off from some of the other versions of Velma out there, especially the Mindy Kaling one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This Velma is too hot.
I mean,
She's like pornographically hot.
I mean, it's literally a porno.
Yeah.
But yeah, I honestly just found this movie extremely hilarious. And like, if you don't want to go out and watch the porno yourself, I recommend watching at least like the non-porno version on YouTube, because it's genuinely funny and I genuinely had a good time watching this.
All right. For my next one, it's the XXXXXXXXXorcist. All right. Well, I think that has no explanation needed there. It's based off of a movie with a very similar title. Brief summary of the plot. Father Merkin.
Okay.
Father Merkin, as he enters the home of a young mother who is having problems with her sensual daughter. Her daughter is possessed by a demon. Merkin tries all of the conventional methods and none succeed. He resorts to some unconventional methods, which include plugging all her holes. And I mean all of them. I've seen this whole movie. Her mother somehow becomes possessed too and joins in on the sexual carnage. Father Merkin succeeds in driving the demon out of the young girl, but it enters him. Not wanting to succumb to the demon priest, to the demon, the priest throws himself out of a window where he falls to his death, and someone steals his wallet. So very, like, this one is closer to the actual movie.
Now, when you say the demon enters him, do we get a gay sex scene in this movie?
No, it's just like a spirit. Like I mean, it's a straight porn. But highly entertaining.
You know what I've realized after watching these pornos? They are all so eager to include a lesbian scene wherever they can. There was one in the Scooby-Doo one where Daphne and Velma get it on. There's one in in Edward Penis Hands.
Oh yeah, interracial.
Yes, there's one in the Sex Files. They always jump to have a lesbian scene, but they never want to have man-on-man action.
Ugh, hateful.
I know. They're just vindictive, aren't they?
Oh my goodness. But I will say, speaking of, I know I was talking about that red wig from earlier. The mom is wearing that red wig.
No.
Yes, it's so good.
Would you happen to have an image of it for me to compare?
You know what? I'll show an image, but I didn't bring any clips up from this because it's just way too graphic. There's like...
What the... That's like... What is this fucking like...
Is that red wig?
Roaring 20s like Bob. Like what did she... Oh, do they put green makeup on her too?
Mm-hmm. Oh, so I'm going to get into that, but I just wanted to show you the red wig.
Okay.
So the father was hot, and I should just say that about all the fucking leading men in this. Like, yeah, father was hot. He had tattoos. Like, it was so funny because he was like taking off his clothes, and I'm like, for a father, he has like a deck of cards, and he has this Italian like Guido accent. So he's like, well, this doesn't work. I'm gonna have to try another way. And then
was that your Guido voice?
That was my Guido voice. But it was funny because it looked like, you know, he spends his like weekends at like
the Jersey Shore,
Atlantic City. But yeah, and he was like nerdy, but like in a hot way. The green goo everywhere.
So they put like green makeup on her like in the movie.
Oh, girl, it's not just the makeup. It's okay. In one scene, the priest is like fucking Reagan, and she's still possessed. She's like, and then like he's like railing her like in front, and then all of a sudden she goes like, oh, you think you got me, and then like blasts green goo out of her vagina, and it sends him flying into the wall, and he like hits the wall and like, you know, hunches over.
Why?
And it's like a stream of green goo that goes poosh. But it was funny because like this Reagan character, she really committed to her bit. This actress gave her full pussy in this role.
Do we get a head spinning around the body?
Yeah, we do get a head spinning around the body, and it's funny because like she's being such a little cunt, and she's being like, you'll never get me, blah blah blah, and then like as her head is spinning, like the little green tube shoots out like vomit projectiles onto like different things, like pew pew pew. Okay. Yeah. And then yes, the lesbian scene. So, you know, it wasn't the lesbian scene that shocked me. It was the level of blasphemy in this lesbian scene because so I remember I told you she launches the father with her green goo pussy, and so her mother, who was like listening intently on the side, she was outside the room, and so she enters and she sees like, you know, this horrific scene of like the naked priest hunched over in the wall, and Reagan just like shooting green goo out of her vagina, and the mom's like, what did you do? Like, you get out of my daughter. She like grabs Reagan and like tries to take control, and the possessed Reagan grabs the father's crucifix, and like
we get that scene
and shoves it you know where.
We get that scene.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, and then it's just a lot. And then towards the end, yeah. So what happens is that the demon like multiplies and also like possesses the mother, and then the priest gains consciousness and he fucks the unholy out of the mother, but is unable to, you know, sexorcise the demon out of the daughter. He is unable to do that with his own, you know, physical abilities. So he actually gets like this set of holy dildos, and it's so blasphemous, but like he gets one for her mouth, one for her vagina, and the other one for her asshole, and he's like, in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, the power of Christ compels you, and like shoves it in.
Let me ask you a very real question.
Yeah.
Do your parents listen to this show?
Oh yeah.
Okay, because I'm in your house right now, and I can't help but notice all of these very large statues of Jesus and the Virgin Mary. So I can only imagine how happy they're going to be when listening to you talk about this shit.
100%. We love.
All right. Well, so thank God we're done talking about this topic, because I am disgusted thoroughly. Call me sex negative, but I do not think that any of this needs to exist, except maybe the Scooby-Doo one. That one was genuinely funny. But the rest of it, they can all go to hell.
Happy Pride.
But anyway, yes, thank you for joining us for this disgusting discussion. We hope you had a good time. So that brings us to the end of our show.
All right. Well, dearest patrons and poltergeists, we hope you enjoyed your stay at Chateau Macabre. If you would like to see more of our content, you can follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Our YouTube channel is at Chateau Macabre, and our Instagram is at Chateau Macabre Podcast. So join us next time at Chateau Macabre. Bye. Chateau Macabre is not endorsed by any of the material owners presented during the show. It is intended for entertainment and informational purposes only.
All names, pictures, sounds, and clips are registered trademarks of their respective trademark and/or copyright holders.